Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. And I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing today?
Good. I did not think the Oilers were going to hold on for that win, Bruce. So I'm happy. That was a good, and they did it in okay style, kind of okay style. But we'll get into the particulars shortly. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Actually got to get a grade a game where the Oilers won. First time that happened since February 4th or 5th in Chicago when they really barely won against Chicago. And that was after the break. Bang, 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 bang. 4 losses, 8-4, 19 against. Not that I'm keeping score at home or anything. But it's nice not to be grumpy to be going into my grading process.
Indeed. Bruce, this is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. I guess I'll start it off because your good thing segues into your bad thing. Oh, and by the way, last podcast I was saying there was some noise in the background. I figured out what that was. I had Twitter on and it was running some video that had this weird sound every now and then.
Some loop, video loop, was it?
That's right. So every 38 seconds, the weird sound would come on. Completely my fault. All right. My good thing. I was just trying to think what was my good thing because we had a little debate over who was going to take what, and we decided one of us has got to take Stu Skinner, and it's me.
That's going to be you.
He stole the game. I think he stole that win for the Edmonton Oilers, and the reason I say that the grade A shots were 16-10 for the Rangers, but the tail of the tape is even told more so by the subset of 5 alarm shots, the most dangerous shots in a game, going about 33% of the time. 11-5 for the Rangers, Bruce. Wow. 11-5, including 2 5-alarm shots in the final 10 minutes. So, just great saves on both. Stu Skinner, he needed that win, Bruce. Oilers fans needed that win. He played better. He played well. I think I had him as my best in the last game that he played in. A good thing. So I think he's coming out of whatever was getting him down. He just was really solid tonight. What was the goal again? How did they score the one goal?
They stuffed one that from close range that kind of squeaked through, and Kulak tried to pull it off the goal line. It was a bit of a junky one, and I'm sure the harsh critics would say it's all the goalie's fault, but a lot of different things were happening out there, and there was a few of those scrambles, and that was the only one that wound up in the net. I will say that.
It was a 5-alarm shot that they scored on, off the rush, initially at least. I'm still trying to think of the exact play, but he was just
Cooley just jammed it in from like a foot out. Like Kulak and Cooley were kind of battling on.
Is there a rebound?
Yeah, it was just kind of laying near the goal line, and Kulak tried to pull it out, and Cooley just kind of rammed it in. So I never saw, I don't think, a perfect replay, but it's pretty clear the puck got in behind the goalie, and then the battle got won down there by the big power forward, Will Cooley, who I always seem to see good for Rangers.
He's a very good player. Excellent player. So yeah, it's a big moment. Calvin Pickard obviously had a huge moment. Great game. And now we've had 2 goalies back-to-back with big wins for the Oilers. This actually was the more impressive goaltending performance. Because Pickard's game, there wasn't a lot of action. Wasn't nearly as many difficult shots or grade A shots, period. So Skinner really earned this victory, and that's got to feel good for him. Just in the nick of time coming home to Edmonton here and time to lock it down and play some strong goal for a stretch of games.
Yeah, well, he did rob the immortal Matt Rempe on a clear-cut breakaway. It's not every day that happens. And that was a big save. Like the Rangers had just tied it up. And that was only
Yeah,
the next real shot or chance on net within like 2 minutes of the goal. And Rempe got behind Kulak and Bouchard on that play, and
he
steamed
also,
in on goal.
yeah, he's fast though, Rempe. Like he's not
Yeah, yeah,
slow.
he can move. He can move. Anyway, there was also other probably better shots by better shooters, and the rebound save off of Zibanejad with
Yeah,
9 or 10 minutes left. That was just
power play.
outstanding. Yeah, yeah, the power play off the cheap penalty, and uh, he got his glove up. Like the puck actually popped up over his body, but he was able to get his arm or his glove on it and keep it out. And that was from like very like almost within the blue paint range, the shot. And he won that key battle with the game very much on the line at 2-1 with 10 minutes left. That was his probably biggest moment.
Oh yeah, I'm now remembering the goal against the
Mm-hmm.
flyby by Perry there, where he could have
Right.
gone and got that guy in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Perry had a good moment though, so we won't
Yeah.
be too mad at him. Yeah, the Rangers they're a dangerous team, and they really pressed the Oilers. There was one shift, particularly about 7 minutes into the third period, where the Rangers just poured it on. I thought they were going to score for sure, but it ended up with a kind of a deflected shot that Skinner was able to kill the play on, and that was a big moment. Bruce, what's your good thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go to a specific shift, which I thought this would be certainly a candidate for the best shifts by an Oilers forward line during the road trip. And this was the very oh so temporary line of Connor McDavid between Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, the two free agent forwards that they brought in to shore up the top six this summer. And the thought always was those guys were going to play with Draisaitl, and the reality has been that Arvidsson has played up and down the lineup, more down lately, and Skinner has played his way up and down the elevator, the press box, watching games from on high. And Jeff Skinner came out and he was fire in this game. I thought he was outstanding, and he was great in the first period. He drew two penalties, including one on this shift. He made a wicket back check to break up a play before it got going, and he was just cruising around and making stuff happen and win battles. Yeah. So on this play, he took a pass from was it Bouchard that got the pass to him, or maybe Arvidsson chipped it through, but he just came up on the defenseman 1-on-2, and they were a little wide apart, and he saw the gap, and he just charged right in between the two defensemen and right in on goal for basically a breakaway shot, 7-foot shot. Arvidsson comes flying in on the rebound and almost jams it home, and then they keep the puck in the zone, and then McDavid makes this fantastic little spin move in the high slot and zips another pass over to Skinner on the edge of the crease, and he jams another dangerous shot on net while getting hooked. And this time the Zebras called that penalty. The second one that Skinner drew, the third one the Oilers drew in the first period. And perhaps inspired by the great shift in effort that led to the power play, the actual power play unit connected, which it looked lost at sea in the other three power plays tonight. But this one, they managed to connect right away, like within, 24 seconds from penalty to goal, when they just didn't mess around. And Draisaitl from the high slot, he started doing this a bit, and I like it. Uh, when there's nothing happening and nothing going on, somebody's jamming the front of the net, just fire an outside shot in there. And maybe it hits somebody and goes in, or maybe it hits the goalie and bounces to someone. You know, there's a lot of good things that can happen when you got one more guy than them and the puck is around the blue paint. And he's I think, maybe 3 assists now this year like this, where he just sort of dumped one in there. And the two guys in tight to the net, Corey Perry being the key one, was able to fish it out and dump it in. So my that whole sort of sequence from 150 when the temporary line came out to 107 when the penalty was called to 43 seconds when the goal was scored. All my good thing.
Bruce, before you start
Yep.
your bad thing, let me just
Okay.
it was Bouchard who started that play. He and Arvidsson won a battle. I think Arvidsson lifted the guy's stick and Bouchard took the puck off him to send Skinner in there. And it was a great moment for Skinner just to cut right up the middle of the ice. I mean, if we had seen a bit more of that, we would have been seeing a bit more of Skinner. But a very good, hard, go to the net play by Skinner. And the thing I liked about that power play goal was Corey Perry sure knows how to hurt a guy. He's learned. It's a rebound play, and they're battling for the puck. And Perry put it right off Shesterkin's face into the net as he's lying on the ice. He smashes it.
Right.
And it hits Shesterkin right in the face, and then went in the net. Sorry, Shesterkin. You're dealing with Corey Perry there. What did you expect?
Yeah, that's how Corey rolls, eh?
Yeah, he wormed his way in there like he always does. 15 goals on the year.
So I'm going to roll right on that to my bad thing. And that is this. After that fantastic line, that chip that line played, which was a temporary line because McDavid had started the game with Kasperi Kapanen and who the heck was on the left side? Because
Perry? No, it was it was Henrique.
Henrique, right? And they weren't
they come up with?
They weren't getting a lot done, just to be polite, and so they put McDavid with these new guys for the shift, and they clicked immediately, and they were all over him. 3 great chances, drew a penalty, extended, they scored off of it. I know. Let's never put those guys back out there together again. They might score again. And coach, I don't understand it. Your team is struggling mightily to create offense, to take the puck to the net, and to score goals. You got a shift like that where they dominate and basically swing the game in your favor, at least for a while. And the reward is, okay, well, let's go right back to the guys that were there before. Because by the end of this game, McDavid played 8:25 with Kapanen, during which time the shots were like 3 shots, 3 against, and no real, I don't think real major chances. And he played 1 minute and 52 seconds with Victor Arvidsson in this entire game. So clearly they got one more shift, but nothing serious. 8 shot attempts for Edmonton, 0 for New York, because I don't think they ever had the puck at all, let alone in Edmonton's end of the ice. 7-0 for unblocked, 4-0 for both shots on net and scoring chances, and 3-0 for high danger chances. I mean, this was all on that one shift. But for God's sake, man, look at it again. Like, you're crying to find the right combination for Connor McDavid. I mean, you're at the point where you're resorting to put Kasperi Kapanen, the guy you got off the waiver wire, with him because nothing else is clicking. And suddenly these 2 vets get a chance with the other great center. They have a great shift and no response. And I'm just completely bemused by that. And like my son during the intermission said, "Hey, we finally got line mates for Connor. Who knew?" Arvidsson. And so I was watching for it. And where are they? They're not out there. They're not out there. So I don't know, David. I'm just puzzled at, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? If you get a great shift from, do you think Scotty Bowman would have had those guys back out there, or Mike Keenan, if they had a great shift together like that? 100%. 100%.
Well, and you also want to get Arvidsson and Skinner going, right?
Yeah.
You want to get Connor going a little bit here too. He's not exactly tearing up the pea patch.
Yeah. All 3 were
so
going
get them all.
So let's take them and tear them apart.
Well, maybe Bruce, I'm going to post that good rant on Twitter, and I'm sure the coaches will be seeing that because of you. So
I mean, Arvidsson was playing well. He had a good game, and he was playing well
Yeah.
on the line further down with Nugent Hopkins and Podkolzin. And I guess maybe he didn't want to mess with that. But boy, I sure would have given 97, 53, 33 at least one more chance. Two more chances.
Yeah. Yeah, nice goal by Arvidsson. He finally got some puck luck, eh? Like,
Yeah,
finally took an outside shot that went off the guy's stick and into the,
and in.
roofed it and in. Yeah, he needed that. He's got 9 goals now. I think he should have about 16 or 17, but based on his quality of shots. But it sometimes goes like that, and that was a big boost for him as well. Yeah, I didn't think of that during the game. Like, why don't we see this line again? And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Skinner's break, I think the middle of the ice opened up for Skinner in part
Yeah,
because they were shading over to McDavid
right.
on the initial great rush
I
there.
think that's
So
right. Yeah,
create some
and that,
space for this guy, and he took it, right? So that was
sure it did.
fantastic.
He took it earlier in the period too when he drew that other penalty when he just got on the inside of the guy and kind of powered him and forced the guy to hook him down just because he got behind him in the neutral zone. But mostly he drew the penalty because he wanted the puck, took it off him and forced the guy to foul him to stop him. So
And
so
sometimes go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say it's pretty strong game from Skinner. Both him and Arvidsson are players that we haven't exactly been bubbling over with enthusiasm, let's say, but both of them had strong games. They're going to get good grades tonight.
I've thought Arvidsson's been a good player all year, just a solid two-way player who hasn't had much puck luck. Skinner has had troubles on defense, but has had, he's had a good number of points, points
Had
per
his
60. I think
moments.
it's like third or fourth on even strength on the Oilers in terms of points per 60. So, all right, yeah. Half the time, Bruce, when I think of Skinner, I think is he like Jordan Eberle, like who's having a bit of, you know, or is he like Mike Camilleri at the end of his career? Kind of now and then I think that too, that he's kind of done. Like when Camilleri came here, just couldn't get it done anymore. But that was a hopeful sign. He looked really good on that sequence, and he's looked good in the last couple months. He's looked really good on the attack. His defense is always a little bit questionable. It's never great, but that's something he could still crank up. All right, my bad thing, Bruce. There was a play in the third period. I think let me just see here. We're looking at about 12 minutes left. So 8 minutes into the third period. And Skinner is going in on the rush, and he doesn't have the puck, but he's kind of going to the net. Guy gets in his way, and he does shove him hard and knocks him over, cross checks him, knocks him over. But in the exact same moment, Darnell Nurse is going to the net, and he gets shoved in the back with about the equal amount of
Almost the
weight,
same.
which wasn't much.
Right.
And he goes crashing into the goalie. And then Skinner's heading back up the ice, and the Ranger who he's cross-checked comes after him, and he hacks him, and then he hooks him and impedes his progress back into the play. On that play, there was 3 penalties, 3 possible penalties, all of them about the same level of inconsequentialness. They were just inconsequential, essentially.
Don't call him with 5 minutes left in the third period kind of consequence. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all
I was
3 of them.
surprised they picked one.
Yeah, all 3 of them were marginal penalties. You might pick one, might not. But to call just one of those penalties and to call the one against the Oilers and not one of the
The
others,
two against the Rangers. Yeah.
he's looking right at Skinner getting retaliated against, right? He might have missed Nurse, like the ref who called the penalty on Skinner, the low ref, and maybe the high ref didn't have the angle to see what happened. But he saw definitely Skinner get hacked and hooked, trying to get back into the play. Clear retaliation. On the ice, it's like it's just one guy hits one, slashes one, the other guy slashes the other. Send both off, but no, he sent one off. That was ridiculous. It was a hometown ball, and
well, if you got 3 penalties and you're going, if you got 3 penalties and you're going to call one, maybe call one against the team that took 2 out of the 3 fouls. That would be my theory. But
And they got
Not
two
how
really
they
good
saw it.
chances to score
Two,
on that power play.
yeah, well, two good things out of that. One, like they killed it off. Skinner made a fantastic save, and the teammates had his back. But two, I actually loved seeing the fire from Jeff Skinner when he got the penalty and the other guys didn't, and him ripping into the ref like he didn't go overboard, he didn't take a 2 or 10, But he was pissed and he was engaged and mad. Like I just like to see that. And it's not like he plays without passion because that's not true. But this is sort of the most um, what's the word? Most open
Fire, demonstrative.
display of it, demonstration of that fire that's burning, and it's great to see because the playoffs are coming, uh, they need some of that, and maybe he needs that to get himself up to his next level. But I by no means was disappointed that he was. I mean, the ref was no way was he going to go 4 minutes. So he was probably pretty safe, but he was mad and he said so. Good on you, Jeff.
There are some other big moments, like for the team. Like I agree. I think that's a big moment for Skinner. Like, just getting so into the game. Wallman, I noted he had 6 blocks, and
Mm-hmm.
there was one on the
Couple
power
big
play.
ones.
He took a real hard shot and got right in the way of it. And that was a great play. And then there's Stu Skinner making some big saves. So, a couple guys on the hot seat, 3 guys, Arvidsson, and I'm going to get to a third one in a bit, Nugent Hopkins. Now,
Right.
this is a game where some of these guys who have been on the hot seat, generally speaking, deservedly so, had big games. So that was really great to see. That's we're of course fans, and we're rooting for all of these players,
Mm-hmm.
and genuinely rooting for all of these players. I
Yep.
think you and I, like, we don't have like guys we don't like. I like all of these players, and so it's great to see them rebound when they have been struggling as someone have been doing. Bruce, what's your number?
My number is 18. It's a couple of things. I think it's the number of times Leon Draisaitl missed shots at the empty net in the last 3 minutes. I'm joking about that. The real number 18 for Draisaitl is 18-game point streak, which makes him the longest point streak of any Oiler in this century, more than McDavid, whose career high is 17. And the last Oiler to have a streak of this duration was none other than Wayne Gretzky in 1986. That's a long time ago. That's 4 decades ago. 18-game point streak. And Leon just got the 1 point for the outside shot today. I didn't think he was on the very top of his game like he was on Friday, and you can't expect that every night. He had some good moments, some not so good moments, but he did manage to get that point. He missed all those empty nets. Shot at number 50. But the other 18 is that's the number of games that pass. 18 consecutive games that the Oilers did not get a clear victory over their opponent, with the clear victory defined as a win by 2 real goals. So not empty netters like they got in the 3600th second against Carolina to make it 3-1 there a couple of weeks ago, uh, where you either win by 1 or you win in overtime or you lose by whatever. As close games. The clear victories are the ones where the team that wins outscored the other guy by about at least 2 real goals. And of course, all the goals in this game were real. They all beat goaltenders and none of this empty net stuff. And 3-1. So at least a 2-goal edge. I mean, even that was a nail biter. But that was the first time, David, since January 23rd that they announced the last minute of play in the third period where the Oilers were ahead by more than 1 goal. It was 2 goals tonight, but hey, that's a lot more breathing room than the usual, heart pounding finish where every turnover could be a disaster. And so they worked their way through the last minute. So between game 47, 18 games in a row without a clear victory. And as Jack pointed out tonight, only 2 regulation wins in their last 16 games. 2 regulation wins. And a bunch of overtime wins, which has saved their bacon. That's been their real forte all year. Their forte is that they've been 11-3-1 in overtime, and otherwise they're pretty even in sort of close games, not close games. So it was nice to see them actually stretch a lead. That goal by McDavid with 3.5 to go really allowed Oil fans to take a deep breath, I think, and at least feel like the last minute wasn't on a complete knife edge. Like they have to make 2 blunders to blow the lead as opposed to the usual. Nothing. So that's a long wait. Last year they never went more than 4 games between clear victories. So it's a big step in the right direction. They didn't exactly stomp the Rangers, but this just in. They beat the Rangers. And they beat them fair and square, 3-1.
Yeah, they don't seem to have that dynamism that last year's team had in terms of being able to ramp it up and just start putting in the goals. It's often in a comeback effort.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in the playoffs. And they're still, of course, going to add some players between now and then. So
Jack had another stat, a little different from mine, but it's the same general idea. Last year, the Oilers won 27 games by 3 or more goals. So basically 1 in every 3 games. This year, they've done so just 12 times in 67 games. So 1 every 5 or 6 games. It's a huge difference.
I was just, when I was saying that I cheer for every Oiler, I was thinking, is that correct? And I was kind of fact checking myself. I looked over the list. I have to say, I'm still cheering for him, but I'm a little bit down on Kasperi Kapanen right now, Bruce.
No.
I'm not seeing it. So this is typical of me. I get down on the 4th line center.
Wait, he's on the first. He's on the first line right now.
He's the first line. You're right. Yeah, that was baffling to me. Why? And again, there was he was covering on defense and he caused another 2-on-1 tonight. Like I'm not seeing it with Kasperi Kapanen. I'd like to see Noah Philp come back up from the minors and get another shot at center. I understand Derek Ryan might be getting another chance.
Sounds like
Is that right?
Well, I keep reading rumors that they're thinking of sending him up, that he might meet the team at home after the road trip. Yeah. So, and some would like to see Savoy get it. What we know for sure is that even without IRing anyone, they have room for one guy at sort of $1 million range, which is all 3 of those guys we just mentioned. And it's really anybody they could call up. They could fit him in there, one more player, and they don't have the 23-man limit anymore. So they got 23 men on the roster right now, but there's nothing saying you can't add a 24th. So tonight they were without, by the way, Zach Hyman, as well as defenseman Matthias Ekholm and John Klingberg. So that's a fair amount of salary that wasn't in this game.
I liked Savoy. There was a few defensive glitches, but man, he's quick out there. He can make a pass.
Yes, he is.
And he was quick and ferocious on the forecheck at times, which was what was really impressive. He would just got in there and he would win pucks in the corners right off of bigger players. And he was
win the race.
It was kind of like when Yamamoto first came up, and Tyler Yamamoto had that ability. And then he got banged up a bit. And Savoy maybe he's a smaller player too. We'll see. But he was impressive on the forecheck.
It wasn't so much he was stealing pucks off of his opponent as he was getting to him first and chipping him out before the other guy could touch it. And he was just that little tiny bit quicker to get a stick on the puck and do something with it. He did that pretty consistently.
Yeah. My number, Bruce, it's 0-3. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had 0 shots on net tonight, but 3 assists.
Nice.
So that was interesting. The assists were not exactly, the most brilliant of passes. Like the first one, he's kind of battling in front of the net with Perry, and I think the puck hits him. And he's part of that goal. If he's not battling there, that probably doesn't go in.
Nope.
But he's part of that. On the second one, he and Arvidsson are rushing up the ice, and he just puts it over to Arvidsson for a shot. It just did a kind of
give and go. Yeah.
a fairly basic pass, but Arvidsson's shot deflects and goes in. And then on the last one, Kulak puts it up the boards, and he does make it. He gets gets the puck up to the guy who should have it, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins. So there's three good plays, but they're not barn burner assists. But he'll take that 3 assists, and it reminded me, Bruce, like the no shot and 3 assist thing, kind of reminded me of these great passing artists, and probably the greatest one. I'm not sure who has the biggest ratio for a forward of it. Let's say in the last 60 years in the NHL, the modern era, 70 years of the NHL, let's say since 1950, post World War II.
Okay.
It might be Adam Oates. And I was just looking it up. Adam Oates in 1,337 NHL regular season games had 1,420 points. So a bit more than a point per game. Of those 1,420 points, 1,079 were assists and 341 goals.
More than 3 assists for every goal. That's an extremely high ratio.
Yeah. He had some seasons like Adam Oates, let's see, 18 goals, 52 assists, 15 goals, 56 assists, 23 goals, 79 assists, 16 goals, 62 assists, 10 goals, 59 assists. He was a very interesting hockey player. And I don't know, I haven't heard him interviewed very often recently, but man, is he ever a sharp hockey observer. He is an outstanding analyst of the game.
Yeah.
And I think he was on Gregor's show previously. And I think he's still working as a professional skills coach for NHL players. I think he's worked with Nurse in the past and other players, and he's just the best person I've found talking about the skills of NHL players, breaking them down and discussing how they can improve on them. So I don't know where I wish he was on some TV show again, because man, he is a fount of knowledge. Anyway, Nuge had kind of an Adam Oates kind of game tonight.
He was became a special skills coach after he retired. And I remember before he retired, of course, he played for the Oilers right at the tail end of the line, Adam Oates, in 2004, just before the lockout. And the one thing that he did with the team that stuck was he taught all those centers how to win faceoffs, because he was a just superb high-end faceoff man. And all those guys, Jarrett Stahl, Sean Horkoff, were learning at the feet of the master in that season. And that was one of the things that became a strength of the team when they made the big run to the Cup a couple of years later. I got another candidate here, David. I'm just checking his ratio to Adam Oates, who was 24%.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Adam Oates in his final year had his biggest margin, but it was not a very happy one. He had 2 goals and 16 assists in 60 games for the Oilers. So it was 8-1 there, but not much of a year. He was kind of
by the time. My guy is Craig Janney, and he's at 25%. 188 goals, 563 assists for 751 points in 760 career games. So basically, again, 3-to-1 ratio. His biggest season with St. Louis, 24 goals, 82 assists. Next year, he posted 16 and 68. I mean, this is a number that, like a real high-end defenseman might get, right? With way, way more assists than goals, but, just sort of middle number of goals. But that looks like a Sergei Zubov season, right? 16 and 68. But this is a guy playing center, Craig Janney, and he could only shoot the puck one way, muffin. But boy, could he make plays and set guys up. And sometimes those guys were Cam Neely, good things happened. Anyway, he was kind of the poor man's Adam Oates.
Yeah, I wonder if we can think of any others, but they're the ones there's a couple in the 70s, but those are the ones that come to mind. I didn't think of Craig Janney, but that was a good one, Bruce. Alrighty, so next game is Tuesday?
Tuesday night against Utah Hockey Club, and it's a home game. The streak is finally over, and it's the road trip is finally over, and they're coming home for 4 games: Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then they actually got a break until the following Wednesday, and then they play a roadie the very next day after that. So not really a lot of rest, and they'll have to guard against the first game back from a long road trip that bit them on the ass when they got stomped by Anaheim right after the last trip. Remember, they won that big game in Carolina, and they came home and Anaheim kicked the crap out of them 6-2. Can't be having that. It's time to build a 2-game winning streak into a 3 or 4 or even a 5-game winning streak. That's another thing they were doing a lot of last year that we're just not seeing. Since early in the year they were rolling a few streaks of that length, but lately nothing. So time to put a few together, and I get the sense that they're starting to get it. I thought the effort from the team was fine tonight. Mistakes were the mistakes, but they weren't mistakes of carelessness or omission or guys not bothering to come on the back check or it was.
Bruce, there was a lot of 5 alarm shots though, and a number off the rush. Not quite there.
Well, I guess
you.
when your goalie's starting to get it, it makes it look a lot better. When you win 2-1 and 3-1, he must be doing something at least a little bit right. How about 5-1 though? That'd be good.
This game could have easily been 4-2 for the other team. I mean, based on the shots. So, yeah. You know who else, Bruce? Right at the end of his career, Wayne Gretzky became that Adamos kind of player.
9 goals and 53 assists his last year.
In his last year. But if you go back about the 5 seasons before then, and he's got 1 goal, 3 assists for every 1 goal in those seasons. So as he wound down his career, he became more of a perimeter player and was getting by on guile and smarts rather than taking it to the net quite as much. I'll suggest.
Well, then there's the 1985-86 season, which we referenced earlier, where we had the 19-game point streak, and in that season he had a more than 3-to-1 ratio of assists to goals, and he scored 52 goals. But he had 163 assists, which is one of the most. That's like Cy Young's wins record in baseball. I don't see anyone coming close to 163 assists in a season. There's only been one other guy that scored that many points in a year, Mario.
That's amazing, isn't it? Anytime you get that 52 goals, then you have the 3-to-1 assist ratio. You're doing something right.
Yeah. So that was his. But later in his career, that sort of became his standard ratio. In 85-86, he was really focused on setting guys up, especially Paul Coffey, and he was just more of a playmaking. He needed a new project to work on. He was bored with leading the league in goals and assists. He wanted to just blow out the record in the one category, and he did.
Indeed. Bruce, let's leave it there.
All right.
Thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.